Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
This is the next search on February 28, 2020, 7:44 p.m. How, does the FBI find people? The people's misspelled P-E-O-O-P-L-E.
I object.
Did the defendant find out how the FBI finds people in this case? Oh, she found out.
What more do you see?
Oh my goodness, guys. Oh my goodness. You knew as soon as we stopped the live stream that something was going to happen, and it did. It got crazy. It got crazy really fast up in Thurston, and we're here for it. I've got to bring this to you. Just moments ago, we got news that there was in fact a verdict in this case, and I'm going to bring you the developments as they happened. We're just going to fade that music out. There we go. We don't have time for the whole song. I'm sorry. We'll do it later. I promise. Next time we'll play the whole song. Let's see. First person in chat today was in fact Kimmy. Kimmy, congratulations. Keep it working for us because we've got things to talk about here that are important. So let's do this. Let's play it from channel 3 if I can, because then if something happens, 4 live right here. Okay, this is on channel 3. Give me just 1 second. Let's go to 3. Can you see that? Yes? It's working? All right. Here we go. Thurston, Washington. Gut word. We have a verdict. I'm bringing you what happened just 5 minutes ago in the courtroom, and you guys are not going to believe this. I've never seen this before. This is crazy. Oh, my goodness.
Happy birthday. You look good.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
That said that was pretty clear in the jury.
Okay. Sorry.
You could say there, you could be seated. And I'm informed you've reached a verdict.
We have.
And then do you have the verdict form? Presiding juror.
It's right next to you.
Oh, I see. Okay. I didn't realize here. You can be seated.
Oh.
You can be seated. In the case of City of Tumwater versus Kenneth Little, the jury verdict reads as follows. We, the jury, find the defendant Kenneth Ray Little not guilty of the crime of unlawful transit conduct as charged in count 1. So all members of the jury, I'm going to start with you, ma'am, and I'm going to ask you 2 questions. My first question, is this your verdict? And then is this the verdict of the jury? So, ma'am, is this your verdict?
Is this my verdict?
Yes.
Does it have to be unanimous?
Yes, it does.
Oh.
That said that was pretty clear in the jury instructions. Are you telling me?
When I talked to the clerk, she said that if it's like 4 and 2, because it's leaning more towards not guilty, that we do it, whatever.
What?
Okay.
What? Never before. The judge does not know what to do. He's speechless right here.
So
this is the jury 4-person.
Scratch all that. Oh, that was terrible. I apologize.
Yeah. I didn't play the music
Because we got the instructions that it had to be unanimous.
yes, it does.
Okay.
And so well, the last paragraph of the final instruction says, because this is a criminal case, each of you must agree to return a verdict. When all of you have so agreed, fill in the verdict form to express your decision. Presiding juror must find the verdict form and notify the clerk, and the clerk will bring you into court. And then you are the presiding juror.
That's correct.
And then, so when the verdict is reached based on that instruction, I don't know what was said to you or what was understood or maybe misunderstood. But the question is was this a unanimous verdict? And the answer to that's no, then.
We will probably be together.
Okay, so ma'am, I'm talking to you, ma'am, so I need you to talk to me.
Sir.
So is this your verdict? The verdict of not guilty?
No.
I mean, everybody is,
No.
it's got to be unanimous. It has
No,
to be.
I understand that. So that's why I said we need to go back in and talk about it in order to be able to come back with unanimous verdict.
Okay.
So that's what I was saying.
They did a straw poll and just returned the
We need to
results.
discuss
Okay,
it.
thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, you can go back into there and don't deliberate. I'm going to discuss things out here for just a moment. You can go back into the
Maybe
courtroom
just elect a new foreperson is all.
and stay there for a moment.
Oh, no. So the jury leaves. That we don't have a verdict yet. The jury returned a verdict of not guilty, but it wasn't unanimous. It was 4-2.
So this is a new one. So yeah, I'm not too sure where we go from here. Sorry, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So I guess I'll get input from both attorneys. They could send back, they haven't reached a verdict, and I don't know what the count is.
Yes, you do.
And if they haven't decided, they can just keep deliberating and go from there.
Well, I believe the juror indicated the count was like 4-2.
Yep. 4-2, not guilty.
Which is a hung jury.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well,
which I suspect one of the following questions might be based off their prior questions. What do we do if we can't reach a unanimous verdict?
Well,
so if the court is asking my suggestion, I would ask the court to give the jury a little more time to see if they can come to a unanimous decision in hopes that we can finalize this case today.
of course she wants that because 4 of them say not guilty and 2
now
say guilty.
6 o'clock, essentially, 5:58. I'm going to bring them out. I'm going to have them continue deliberating, and we're going to go for about 15 minutes, and then I'll let them talk about it. We'll come back in here after 15 minutes, and then if they, I'll ask them if there's a probability they can reach a verdict, and if, or just, yeah, we'll do that. Go ahead and bring
I'd
it
ask the
back.
court not inform them how much time you intend to send them back for.
What's that? I'm not going to inform them. I'm telling you.
Thank you,
I'm
Your
not
Honor.
gonna tell
I just want to make that clear. Thank you.
And then if they, and then, yeah.
Okay, does anyone else see the bigger problem here? The elephant in the room that was brought up and clearly mentioned, but the judge seems to be overlooking. When the juror says, when I talked to the clerk and she told me that if we're not all agreed and if we vote, then we just go with the majority. Did anyone else hear that? Was that just me? It's Murdaugh all over again, but it's in Thurston, Washington. The clerk has been talking to the jury and telling them how to decide their case. Oops.
And Your Honor, if we can just provide them with a blank verdict form.
Yes.
Okay. That's where we are. They have not come back live since that moment. It is about, we've got about 2 minutes. Okay, let me explain it all over again because some of you missed this. This is a tiny trial up in Thurston County, Washington, which is about a guy who wouldn't get off the bus when asked to by the bus driver. Okay, there's more to it, but it really boils down to that. He wanted to be on the bus. He didn't think he'd done anything wrong. They wanted him off the bus. He escalated through supervisor, through police. He was eventually arrested, taken off the bus, and charged with basically behaving badly on the transit system. Refusing to follow the directions of the bus driver. He's saying those my civil rights are being violated, and they're saying you were causing a disturbance. You made the bus 15 minutes late. You're guilty. This case has stretched on for a good part of the day, for probably 6 hours, and we've had 2 witnesses. Okay, it's been crazy. And the jury went out to deliberate. They were at the instructions. There was nothing different about the instructions than any other case, but they just came back at the jury foreman returned a verdict that was not unanimous. And when the judge went to poll the jury on the not guilty, he asked jury foreman, "Is this your verdict?" And she's like, wait, was it supposed to be unanimous? Was that a thing? Were we supposed to all agree, or just most of us? Because we've got most of us, it's 4-2 not guilty. And when I talked to the clerk, she told me that if we didn't all agree, we just go with the people who had the majority. What? What other convictions happened in this court with that clerk telling that other juries that same thing? This is a huge issue. And the judge is like, well, we can just send them back in to deliberate again, right? No, every conviction that clerk has managed the jury for is now under scrutiny. It's now open for appeal. Oh my goodness. So here we are in Thurston, Washington, with the most boring bus case ever, with a huge, huge legal problem, a massive legal problem. The best thing that the prosecution can do right now is just say, we'll dismiss the charges and just hope that it goes away. But it's bigger than that. If word gets out that the clerk has been telling the jury anything about how to decide the case, it needs to be looked into further. And it might have been harmless by the clerk. And I apologize. This is where we're at. But that's an issue. And it's a huge, huge issue. It's big enough that, it just about got Murdaugh a new trial. Every criminal case, they're the only ones that need to be unanimous. Yeah. It didn't become boring. Oh, my goodness. It's been a long day, but I am wide awake now. This is unbelievable that it's gone like this so quickly. I'm keeping an eye on the courts to see if they come live again and we get anything else from the court, but so far nothing. Let's see here. I had to I couldn't wait till tomorrow. I really couldn't. I'm gonna see if I can go back and replay Bauer 25. Hey, what's going on now? Welcome. Congratulations on 7 months of support. I appreciate that. I love the Yellow Courthouse by your name. Let me see if we can go back and replay just that portion of what the clerk said so you guys can listen again. Let's see. Jury comes in and they sit down. Let's turn on
the verdict form. Presiding juror.
It's right next to you.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Here it is one more time.
I didn't realize here. You can be seated. You can be seated.
Okay,
in the case of City of Tumwater versus Kenneth Little, the jury verdict reads as follows. We, the jury, find the defendant Kenneth Ray Little not guilty of the crime of unlawful transit conduct as charged in count 1. So all members of the jury, I'm going to start with you, ma'am, and I'm going to ask you 2 questions. My first question, is this your verdict? And then is this the verdict of the jury? So ma'am, is this your verdict?
Is this my verdict?
Yes.
Does it have to be unanimous?
Yes, it does.
Oh.
That was pretty clear in the jury instructions. Are you telling me?
When I talked to the clerk, she said that if it's like 4-2, because it's leaning more towards not guilty, that we join whatever.
That if it's leaning more towards not guilty, we go with whatever the majority is. That is terrible. That is terrible. When I talked to the clerk, she told me that if it was, like 4-2 and it was leaning more towards not guilty, how is this going on, first of all?
So, hand me the jury instructions.
Thurston. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. What? Oh. All over a bus, a free bus ride with a box on a bike that looked like a battery, but it wasn't. And some people who got their feelings in a bunch and didn't handle their, outbursts properly. This is wild. The judge has said he's going to give them 15 more minutes to deliberate. They're going to get a new verdict form, send them out and try to reach a unanimous verdict. But I think he needs to stop and look at this and say, we have a problem. I mean, Houston, we have a problem in this court. Oh, I'm waiting to see what happens after this 15 minutes. I don't know how long he talked to them, but I would not be surprised. Now, Thurston, this is me putting on my conspiracy hat. I would not be surprised if right now the court forgets to go live. Oops, we forgot to go live. Especially because the clerk's the one that pushes the go live button. So this is not a good day for her. It's not a good look for her. And why involve anyone else in this little hiccup? All right. Oops, we just forgot to go live, as we've forgotten to go live many times before. It's just a couple minutes that were missed. We got most of the trial anyway. It didn't say unanimous, says Candace. What case were we watching? We're watching a little tiny trial out of Thurston County, Washington. It was supposed to be a one-day trial. It was supposed to be less than 1 day. It was a guy who is a bit of a character. He happens to be homeless. He rides the bus regularly, a lot. We're talking like, he says, 80 hours a week, probably less than that. And he got in an altercation with the bus driver where he was yelling at her, hey, you just closed the door on that lady's arm. And no, that box on the back of my bike that's on the front rack of the bus is not a battery, a car battery. It's a box. And she didn't like his attitude. She's like, get off my bus. I don't want to deal with you. And he refused to get off the bus, and it escalated. Not to violence, not to blows, not even to yelling, really much more than somebody who happens to have a lot of hearing damage and tinnitus might yell to carry on a conversation. But he got arrested for it, and now he's charged with this, improper transit behavior. I can't even remember the offense. So basically, if you do something naughty on the bus, like you spit or you swear or you put your feet on the seat or you forget to move or you don't move, refuse to move for somebody who is disabled and you won't move back to the back. There's a whole page and a half of ways you can commit this crime, this offense in the county of Thurston, Washington. Unacceptable transit conduct. Yeah, that's it. And they prosecuted this thing as rigorously as they might prosecute, attempted murder. They've really gone after it. There's video. There's almost an hour's worth of bus video, and it's I can see both sides on this. I think technically he did break the law, but the jury's leaning 4-2 that he's not. But they're not unanimous, and they returned a verdict anyway. And now we've got the whole clerk involved. How can the judge just send it back? The judge says, well, I don't know the count, so we can just send it back. And the defense lawyer said, no, we do. We do know the count. It's 4-2. They told us. Not guilty. That's why we came back with the not guilty. So 4-2, not guilty. Of course, the defense attorney is going to say, yes, send them back. Because guess what? The 4 people will be leaning on the 2 people. It won't be the 2 people leaning on the 4 to switch. That's not how it works. When you know the count like that, that's why you shouldn't know the count, I think. I think right now it's too late. You can't just send them back and have them deliberate further. It's over. It's a mistrial. It's anything but a clean verdict in this case. It's dismissed with prejudice, maybe. I don't know. All we need is Mr. Frog to enter. Oh, man. I don't know. I don't know how you could do that. I realized when I heard about Becky in Murdaugh's case, I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt and saying, oh, she's just trying to do her job and be polite and things like that. But the more that went on and the more I saw that is, a court authority figure and someone who is sort of like a liaison between the jury and the judge, where there is very limited interaction and it's very strict and structured, it became more important to me that is crucial, that the clerk has to be above all reproach on as far as her interactions with the jury. And here we have in this little tiny court in Thurston County, Washington, with literally no spectators in the audience. There's no one sitting in this court through the entire thing. There's no witnesses. There's nobody there other than the people who are participating on the stand or at the 2 tables, the 2 council tables. There's nobody there. And the court has caused a huge problem that could ripple through the justice system in that county in a big way. We're waiting to see if the jury comes back. They've had about 15 more minutes. I think they're going to be done for the night. It is after 6 o'clock there. It's after 9 o'clock here. I think they're going to be done. But, this is bad. Oh, this is bad. How do they fix that? I don't blame Attorney Rowe, who is the defense attorney for Mr. Little, Ken Little in this case. She wants a verdict, and she wants a not guilty, and she knows that they're almost there. It's 4-2. There are just 2 more people they have to convince to say not guilty, and it's done. But the bigger issue is much bigger than just this case, and that's that the clerk told the clerk, not the court. Okay, this wasn't the judge. This wasn't the jury saying, "Hey, we've got a question, judge. What happens if we can't?" It's the clerk telling them what to do if they can't agree. Oh. How did you know this happened? Like I told you, I might end the live stream, but I still work. I work late at night. I get texts constantly. I was sitting here watching, clicking the refresh button, refresh. And as soon as that came on with the verdict, I started rolling the tape to catch it. And I was listening live, and I heard what was going on. I said, we need to go live with this tonight. We're not waiting for tomorrow. And it basically, right as we went live, it finished the live stream that I was listening to in my ears. So you didn't hear it, but I knew that it had happened right before I told you about it. 5 minutes previous. That's what we do. We watch trials. I watch them for you, sometimes ahead of time. We can now check another bizarre box offer. Yes, we've never, ever before have we had a polling the jury return anything but a unanimous result. And here, the first person, which I presume, I could be wrong about this, she might not be the jury foreman. She might have just been the first person seated in the jury box. But the way she spoke, I think she was the jury foreman. Katie Russin says, OMG, you're still here. We love to thank you for all you do. I just got on here to catch up from 5 p.m. after 7 hours. You're a rock star. I just got on here to catch up from, she said it twice, and I'm a rock star. I'm a rock star twice. Katie Russin, thank you, and thank you again for both the very kind sentiments. I appreciate it. I don't know why it repeated it twice, but kind words twice said are not a problem. Josh also texted me. Yes, I was watching live when the text came in when Josh said, hey, they just went live again. So, oh, wow. Thurston, Washington. She was the foreperson. I could go back and listen to her voice. She was the one that said, yeah, we have a verdict. It sounded like the same thing. Sending jury back after not guilty reads screams double jeopardy to me. Well, they hadn't reached a verdict, but the problem is they had told the judge that it was 4-2. And that's the problem. And defense knows it. She called it out, said, yeah, we do know what the count is. It's 4-2. Not guilty. Let him keep deliberating. Candace Hoff, when the judge read the paragraph at the bottom of the form, it just said, when you've reached a verdict, return. It didn't say unanimous. We should probably go back and see if it was the judge's error. This isn't on the jury. I do not put this on the jury if the judge did not tell them it had to be unanimous. But oh my goodness, why, if there wasn't, the word unanimous was not in there, why in the world would your form pattern instructions that you read to the jury not have the word unanimous for the jury to know that everyone has to agree in this case? Candace, thank you very much. I will go back and look at that. I don't know the easy way to jump to it, but I'll take your word for it. And a lot of you guys dig that pretty quickly. Has anyone on this jury watched Thurston County Court before? Hasn't anyone on this jury? I don't know if any of the jurors have watched a case there before. Thurston County is not an area where we see a lot of spectators in court. We don't see. Usually, we'll see a family member of the accused. Rarely will we see anything beyond that, especially in this court. I heard the judge say it had to be unanimous, says Tom Walker. If the word unanimous is not in there, yeah. Deanne says I didn't hear it. I might have just inserted it because I'm so used to hearing it. I just thought it was there. Mel Stiller, thanks for the kind words. It's been a while. I've never run a marathon. I did run some cross country, but that was a long time ago. I need to start doing that again. The Gore Point case, that was a fun one as well. Here in the same room. All right, we're approaching rapidly 6:30. I anticipate it not taking longer than this. But I mean, how many of you think that the court is going to forget to go live? The clerk, even if the clerk's just flustered, even if it was completely harmless, well, unintentional, misspeak or misunderstanding, I think the clerk's flustered enough that they're going to forget to go live once again tonight. And it's late enough that the judge might say, look, we need to come back tomorrow. And we need to sort this out. If the clerk is in charge, odds are against us. I think it would be more accidental than on purpose, because I know that especially when there's a verdict, there's a lot to do very quickly, and going live is like the last button that gets pressed. And if anything else comes up, any other paperwork that the clerk has to do, I can see why that would, just slip her mind and not get pressed in time, especially if it's just like, you've got a minute to catch it, and she doesn't. But she's got bigger issues than forgetting to go live. I think if what the juror said is true that the clerk said, you just go with the, majority. The highest vote getter. If you don't agree, you just go with the majority. Katie, Judge did say he was going to finish this today. You did say you want to do 24 hours. Who knew it was about Mr. Little? I don't want to do a 24-hour stream on Mr. Little. I find it an interesting case. I feel really bad for him because I can see where he feels wronged, right? Where his civil rights were, in a way, trampled on, and where he was the victim and didn't cause this, and more happened to him. His response didn't help at all. His stubbornness, I think he could have really diffused the situation, but to his credit and to his point, he didn't have to. He had the right to not do it. And I see that side. I can see that. But at the same time, once the supervisor got involved and once the police got involved while they're calling it out and investigating, they told him to get off the bus and he wouldn't. And that, I think, was a lawful order. And so there was it, even though it didn't start off that way, I think it became a crime that he actually did commit. We need someone in that room for us. We need to have like a permanent court watcher up in Thurston. That would be amazing. You just have to sit there in the lobby of the Holiday Inn Express courtroom. What time does Evelyn trial start in the morning? They start at 9. The Florida jury in the Colin Griffith case starts at 8:30. And this courtroom, assuming that they don't get this squared away tonight, is going to start, I don't know, around 11 Eastern time. So it's going to be a busy day tomorrow. Oh, man. Seems like a misdemeanor, not a criminal. It is a misdemeanor case. 6 jurors deciding the case in this instance. Okay, it's been well over 15 minutes. I just don't see it happening tonight, but I just want to hold out for a second. Check the burner. I will. Just 1 second. Thank you, OG Sean White. Latest on the burner phone. And Sean, thanks for the super chat as well. That's super generous of you. The burner phone takes a while to load here, so give it a second. Let's go back to this one. They've been gone now for 33 minutes since the judge told him he was going to give them 15. But that's after he was going to bring them in and explain things to them and then continue. He might be rereading the instructions. Let's see. Okay, on Thurston County website. Hang on. Give me a second. My burner phone is seriously, it just freezes. I've got so many, honestly, unread messages. It's been flooded recently. I'm trying to catch up. I try to catch up during the day, but when I catch up and I'm texting on the phone, I look like this, and everyone tells me that I'm sleeping, and I'm not. Say I look tired and I should need to get more rest. Okay. So the host had started. I'm not seeing it. OG Sean, send me the link. Let me see if I can connect. Let me know if you can connect that way as well. Heather B, welcome to the gallery. This is a crazy evening that we thought we were going to be in bed by now, but Thurston County, Washington delivers once again, this time with a bombshell of a development in a little tiny case that, except for the one person at play here, it doesn't matter. Okay, it is tiny. It's about somebody who committed potentially a misdemeanor on a bus by not getting off when he was supposed to or asked to, and it's not going to result in jail time. It's going to be a fine, if that, and probably a very small one, as well as maybe some probation. And it really is not going to change the flow of how anything works up in Thurston County normally, unless, of course, the jury comes back with a verdict that is not unanimous. And in explaining the fact why they came back with a not unanimous decision, they in fact revealed that the clerk of the court told them that they should return a verdict based on the majority without a unanimous decision. Clerk Becky, did she move to Washington? I don't know. Oh my goodness. Miss me a cow, kiss me a cow, says, did you miss me? I've been MIA for a while. But I'm still here. Welcome. 19 months as well. Kiss me a cow. Thank you very much. I have a cow right here, as a matter of fact. This is Moo Pack or Cash Cow 2, depending on what you want to call him. Little stress cow. Might need him today. All right. Here's I can't go to bed now, says Ann. I just barely told Mrs. R.A. She said, are you coming to bed? And I said, not quite yet. I've got to run down and check and make sure this, the verdict hasn't come in. And when I came down and kept checking, this happened. So here we are live again. She doesn't know, but this is a date that will live in infamy. I think this is going to go around the circles of LawTube and on the internet as well. Cashette says there was no unanimous. You must all agree to return a verdict. Just a verdict. Oh, my goodness. Oh, she knows. Hey, honey. How are you doing? I would be up in bed right now, probably snoring already, as you know me, but this little trial had just exploded with a jury that returned a non-unanimous verdict. And that in and of itself is not nearly as significant as the fact that the court clerk told them they could do it. And they should just agree with the majority and return the verdict that way. Every single jury this clerk has ever been in charge of now is suspect. Every verdict that this clerk has ever controlled the jury to and from the courtroom, participated in court in any way, interacted with in the hallway, you name it. Every single verdict, inmates should be saying, "Hey, lawyer, Lawyer, do me a favor and file an appeal. Real quick, because we have on tape what this clerk was doing. And who knows, but it might have happened in our case as well. How is that legal? It's not. It's very, very wrong. Mr. Frog is filed for a dismissal. Mr. Frog doesn't get a dismissal. He left court before it was even done. He left during lunch. All right, I'm going to call it and say that that either two things have happened. Either the court has resolved this issue one way or another with a verdict, or agreeing to come back in the morning, and they've done that without going live, or they've just agreed to come back in the morning. They've done that without going live. They are not live now. I don't anticipate that at 6:40, when they were expecting to be done by 6 o'clock, they would still be there in the courthouse or in the Holiday Inn, as the case may be. We'll give them just a couple more minutes. The clerk, they'll be back 5 minutes after you close it. That just means I can't go to sleep. Oh. The prosecutor's wife called him and said, just drop the charges and come home. I'm tired. It's late. It's a stupid case anyway. Oh, man. We have a very excited child who told me something big was happening and Dad was freaking out. That's pretty much what happens here. Dad's live and he's yelling about something. Okay. No verdict. No unanimous decision. And no update. So now we get to go to sleep with that being the latest thing that happened. The funny thing about this is, in the past, when we have called and when they've reached a verdict and haven't live streamed it in Thurston County, and we've called and talked to them, the person you talk to get the information is the clerk. I'm just saying, it's that's going to be an interesting phone call. Yeah, it's her. That's the one. That's the one you call and they say, oh yeah, I'll pull up the information on the case. Yeah, it came back. Here was the verdict. And so the follow-up question would be like, did they say any more about the clerk in the court? Did they mention you again? Are there any other appeals that have been filed yet as a result of what happened yesterday? They're not going to answer the phone now. The phones are going to be off. Sally, we watched that briefly earlier in the day. That was sent to me. We watched that quickly. There was a fight in the New Mexico courtroom between the family members of a victim in a murder case and the defendant, and it was crazy. We watched the video without any audio or anything. I'm not sure if there's a version with audio, but it was pretty wild. It was just the courtroom security audio or security video. Please call in the morning. It's going to be about 11 o'clock. Delwater Troy is applying for the open clerkship position. I don't like seeing people lose their jobs. This is a major issue. I'm not calling for her to be fired, but this is a major issue that has to be addressed, or at least investigated. Cat Toes, welcome. The clerk knew better. They should have. I'm not saying they did, but they should have known better. Every time I look forward, I'm refreshing the screen to see if they've gone live again. So I've probably done it about 200 times in this live. Renee, what did you miss? Oh my goodness, rewind to the beginning. Nothing has happened since then. We haven't had any developments. There's about a 5-minute video you have to watch at the very beginning of this live stream. That is something we have never seen in court before, ever. In any of our court watching, I've never seen it happen. It's almost such a given that when attorneys ask for the jury to be polled after a verdict has been come in, it's like, why would he do that? It's always unanimous, except for when it isn't, and this time it wasn't. So, oh my. Josh, thank you very much. You once again delivered a banger of a court case and left us on with a cliffhanger at the end of the day. I do hope we get video resolution to this, in addition to possibly the the explanation, which we can always get on the phone. Yeah, until it's not. My word. Yeah, Ada K, this is a crazy one. This court case was almost funny in that it's so minor. It is so trivial, right? And I realize everyone says, laws are laws. They're big laws, little laws. They're all laws. You break a law, you should pay the price. I see that. I hear that. I do think some laws are stupid. There are some things we legislate that, we shouldn't legislate. And they shouldn't have laws about such trivial things and just let people, be a little bit more. But in this case, I can see why there's a law where if you disrupt on the bus or cause problems for the bus driver, you can be asked to leave. And that's pretty much what it boils down to. And it was funny. It was interesting. It was humorous. It was sad at times. But now it's just gone straight crazy. With this jury that came back with a non-unanimous verdict. Oops, we made a mistake. Okay, jury, we've seen juries make mistakes before. I think in Darrell Brooks' case, the first case we televised, I think the jury came back and had a mistake on the verdict form the first time. Juries do make mistakes and they have to correct them. But it's what they said to the judge about the mistake, specifically that the clerk of court told the jury foreman that when everybody doesn't agree, when it's not unanimous, you just go with the majority, and that's your verdict. That's a problem. And that's what leaves us. That's where we're going to leave it today, and end there. We'll see what happens tomorrow. It's going to be crazy tomorrow. We've got potentially a verdict in Florida. We have a new trial coming up in Tennessee, which is going to be a tough one as well. And when you're not unanimous, you ask the clerk. What would the clerk do? How would you think we should vote? Can you cast the tiebreaker for us? All right, it's late at night. Thank you, everyone. Tonight, when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we go live again tomorrow morning at about 8:15 in the morning. It's going to be a long day. I probably won't have an answer first thing in the morning about this trial, as Thurston, Washington will be sleeping for several hours after we start. They're going to begin just before noon. And that's when we hopefully will get an answer on this one. So we'll be watching for that, and we'll bring it to you as we can. We're also watching for the verdict in the Colin Griffith trial, and we're picking up the Tennessee versus Boswell trial, which starts tomorrow. The jury has been seated. The jury is sequestered. They will not be going home until the trial is over and a verdict has been returned, or they are hung. Like hung jury, not literally, not like that. So, y'all have a good night. It's been a long day, but we'll see you guys in the morning. Be good to each other. Bye.